Hey everybody, I'm already back with another video trying to make up for all this lost time from the last month. And also because this week I am celebrating one whole year since I came out fully publicly and started living the way I do now. So, in celebration of that, I'm about to tell you guys a major secret that even my direct family, everybody, all my closest friends don't know in full detail unless they were around for it. And they don't know my point of view on it in full detail in the way that I'm about to describe. So I guess now everyone will know. But a question I'm often asked is when I knew that I was trans. I mean, I don't think that there's an exact moment where I could say I knew directly, like right then in that moment. But, like, you know how your most important childhood memories are usually your only real memories from your childhood? Well, to take you guys back on things when I was probably 3 or 4 years old, literally my earliest memories, I literally remember me like stealing my mom's makeup, lipstick, whatever, putting it on, like just experimenting. I didn't even understand the concept of what a boy is, what a girl is, what trans is, any of that. It wasn't all in the media back then because we're talking about the early 90s, like 92, 93. Um, so it was a whole different time back then. It really was. And the thing is, because it wasn't in the media and it wasn't acknowledged the way it is now, like my mom, when I came out to her saying that I wanted to live like a girl, I wanted to be a girl, like in my mind back then, to explain from my point of view, I was literally jealous in a way. Like I envied the whole female nature and I wanted to be that in every way. Something about me wanted to be that. Like I did not identify with the boyish lifestyle in any way. I didn't understand it, but doing feminine things, like things just clicked into place. Like it just it came natural to me. That's the only way I could put it. It had nothing to do with what's between my legs or anything else. Like it was more just like it came as natural to me as breathing. Like and so I didn't even fully understand it. My family immediately, I guess because of my age, thought that it was a phase. Now, something interesting I saw on Grey's Anatomy the other day, and yes, don't hate, but I am a Grey's Anatomy fan, big time. Um, something I just saw the other day on Grey's Anatomy, they were acknowledging about a child being confused whether he was a boy or a girl. And the psychiatrist had said if a child is persistent, consistent, and insistent, then it's not a phase or something like that. And that's a great way to put it, in my opinion, because I don't quite agree with young children transitioning, especially taking hormones too early. I don't think that you should do that any earlier than you should be allowed to have sex. You know, it should be something that you should have time to definitely think over and live out before you start taking that next leap. But like at the same time, I do think if a child is hurting just that much, wants to live that lifestyle just that much, let them try it out. You know, if they really are that insistent about it, like don't just write it off like it's a phase, because then if they really do have gender dysphoria, they are going to feel alone in the world, and they're going to feel completely not understanding themselves, not being understood, and just a very lonely existence. And that's what I felt through my whole childhood. It's weird how natural things did come to me. Like when I was probably 4 or 5 years old was when the original Power Rangers was a big hit, like season one of it with all the originals. And I was a big fan of the girl Power Rangers, and I would like play with my friends, and I would act like I was like, say, the pink Power Ranger and everything. And I immediately like got made fun of for it. But in my mind it was like, but that's how I do see myself. Like that's who I wanted to be. It's weird how things like that, even that early on, with no understanding of what was causing this or anything about the trans culture, never heard of it, like how things like that would even happen. When I was 4 years old, I remember standing in the mall and throwing a penny into the like water fountain and wishing that I was born a girl instead of a boy, because I was so envious of that lifestyle and felt like I belonged in that lifestyle. Like I did not feel right playing that male role. Now obviously, like later on things happened where like I got bullied, things like that. I mean, I constantly got cracked on for wanting to be a pink Power Ranger from like that point on in elementary school. So I learned real quick to stop saying certain things because the rest of the world didn't think quite like I did. And back then, this was not a very understood topic. So I felt pretty stupid pretty quick. And I made fun of by a lot of people. I only had very few friends, and I'm sure me bringing this up, even my close friend Devin, who I still talk to, like, he would probably remember me wanting to be the Pink Power Ranger as a little kid because me and him go that far back. But, yeah, I mean, I would say weird things that probably everyone else thought I was just this total weirdo. But in my mind, it was like, that's how I perceived myself that I should be, but I'm not being allowed to be for some reason, just because I was assigned this role at birth. And that's what I mean by like it's like your brain and your body literally don't match because that's how it is. Like you're seeing yourself as you should be this one thing, but yet you're always going to be acknowledged as this other thing, no matter what you do in life. And it's not right that people should have to live that way. So that's how early on I knew that something was up. Eventually, I learned to keep to myself about a lot of things because I just didn't want to get picked on. I didn't want to get cracked on. This one time I took freaking clothes out lost and found at elementary school. I was in like first or second grade. And this bully, like while I was like basically cross-dressing in the stall just to see myself dressed like that, like he saw my stuff laying on the floor, took it and threw it in the toilet. I had to wash it off and pretend that it was like that I got something on it and that like I had to wet my clothes and stuff. And it was so embarrassing. Like, and there was another time where I like brought this lipstick to school in private and I was putting it on in private and someone caught me with it and they stole it from me. And fortunately this girl stole it back because she wasn't having it, and I'll never forget that. I was only in like second grade. But I learned real quick that the world wasn't going to accept this like idea that was already in my head before I understood what that idea even was. Like I don't know how it could work that way, even myself, thinking back on it. As an intelligent 34-year-old person that has, like, already been living their life and everything, I, I don't even know how it could work that way to where you can literally feel that way from the beginning before you even understand the concept of it. And I'm sure that there are times where kids do go through phases. Like, that's why they have detransitioners and stuff. But if a kid truly feels that out of place, it's got to be coming from a real place. Because, trust me, no, no sane young child is going to present as the other gender in front of a bunch of people and, like, risk immediate embarrassment unless it's coming from a pretty real place. So, like, I'm sorry, like, my throat's a little congested today, but yeah, I mean, that's as early as I pretty much knew about things, and I kept to myself about it. It's weird because I've always been openly bisexual since my teenage years. No one thought nothing of it, but when I came out as trans last year, it was like I was treated like a different person altogether by many people. especially strangers who didn't know me. And it's crazy how just like people treat you like you have a different soul altogether, but you're still the same person. You were just hiding this thing. It's not new news to me, it's new news to everyone else because I already knew these things. I just kept it in because I didn't want to burden everyone else with thinking that they were involved with some freak show. Because I know how closed minded individuals think. I've overheard it over the years. And that's why I kept it in as long as I did. And it hurt more than I can describe. I hated myself more than any bigot could ever hate me. Every time I had to look in the mirror, or every time I had to look down at my genitals, whatever. And I felt just wrong inside. I still do. I mean, but the closer I get to my goal, the more I feel like I'm exactly where I should be. The way I dress now may look weird to a lot of people, but to me, I've never felt more natural in my life. I've gone through style after style over the years as a guy, never felt in my right zone. But now I feel like I'm 100% authentically being me. And I'm telling my full story to everybody. Because everybody has a different story. A lot of people classify every trans person like they're all the same. But we all have different sexualities, different motives, different expectations, different backgrounds. Just like any other minority. We're all diverse. We all have different stories. Some of us have kids, some of us will never have kids. It's just like any other minority. It's a very diverse group of individuals. More so than people realize. But, I mean, that answers the question when I knew. As early as I can remember, I knew. And, I'm glad that... I'm not glad that it took so much for me to get to the point where... where I had basically nothing to lose before I came out. Because, I figured, what do I have left to lose? I shouldn't have let myself get that far. But... it is what it is. I went through so much that I figured I gotta start living. I gotta be me. I have not survived all this stuff I've survived in my lifetime to be playing some role for people that don't even know me. And the people that do know me, if they really love me, they'll accept me either way because I'm still the same person. So, anyway, as far as my family, I tried to tell them several times through my childhood. They wrote it off like it was a phase. And I can understand their perception of it. That's why I'm not angry at them. They accept me, but at the same time, they don't quite understand. I could tell. Basically just talking about my mom and my aunt, because that's the only two direct family members other than my kids that I really have. I have no siblings, no living grandparents. My dad died in 2010. So... yeah, not too much direct family or nothing, but I'm just happy they accept me at the end of the day. That's all I ever wanted. I wish that they would have known what they know now years ago so that I wouldn't have had... if I had had my family support in childhood, I wouldn't have minded all the discrimination. But then again, I probably would have never had my kids because I would have transitioned a lot earlier. So, in a way, I'm glad things played out the way they did. I look at it like, damn, if I had transitioned earlier, I'd already be done, and I'd probably look a lot better. But, hey, things played out the way they did for a reason. That's what I say. Everything happens for a reason. Maybe I went through all this struggle just to tell my story to other people who are struggling and help them too. But my advice to parents, yeah, don't put your kids on hormones that early, but if they are that insistent that they are something else for a long period of time, acknowledge it. Respect it. Let them do what they're going to do. You don't have to, support it, but at the same time, let them be who they are. Because if I had only had their support back then, it would have saved me a lot of trouble in a lot of ways. I know I do now. That's what matters. Because now they obviously know in my 30s that it's not going to be some phase. And Um, I mean, now I understand what the concept is. I spent many years researching the clinical procedures you have to undergo, the the details of transitioning. I've watched many famous transitioners and stuff. I've done all the research in the world on it. I probably know as much as any doctor does. And I know exactly what I'm doing in my body. I'm doing it as safely as possible. And I'm not planning on doing that much more. Just like laser hair removal, bottom surgery down the line, hopefully. And that'd probably be about it. Like, because I really don't need too much, the way I see it. I just want to be acknowledged as the person that I feel like I actually always have been. I want to be treated like any normal female would be treated. But I realize that's probably never going to fully happen, but as close to the real thing as I can get. Like, as long as the people close to me acknowledge me like I'm the real thing, then in my mind, I am the real thing. Because, like, my brain and my body don't match. And my brain is what controls the rest of me at the end of the day. So, like, that's what's going to have to win in this situation if I care about my mental health at all. Like, but that's just how far back I knew, and that's a very deep, dark secret of mine, and I'm glad to be sharing it with you guys. I hope it doesn't sound weird to those of y'all that have known me for many years. I'm sure that those that went to elementary school with me might even remember that rumor about me wanting to be a pink Power Ranger. Now I can confess, yes, it was true. I tried doing that a couple of times, playing games with kids like with friends of mine as a little kid, and it broke out into this big, huge rumor and stuff. Like, it's just because, like, I didn't understand what the concept was at that point. That was just how I seen myself. This is always who I have been. And that's how far back this really goes. Like, maybe that's why I've tried to play into that male role, but people always thought I was, like, gay or something because I always acted feminine and, like, always related to females really well around the edges. So, like, it always showed around the edges of my personality, even though I tried to act manly as possible and even played it off well and everything. But at the end of the day, it was still just a role because my brain and my body did not match, and they weren't going to until I just came out about it. Like, that was the best thing I could have ever done for myself. I don't even want to think of where I would be if I didn't. I'd probably be so much more messed up. And having gone through all the discrimination I have, that says a lot. That's just how strong that influence is on you and how much you just can't change it. Trust me, if I could have changed it, I would have. I also prayed to God for years for me not to think this way. Like it was a bad thing, because that's what society wants you to believe, that it's a bad thing, but it's not. And I prayed to God for years not to think that way because I felt like it was a sin. But, you know, this is just how God made me at the end of the day. To where my brain and my body ain't going to agree. Like, I'm not going to fit into that role that society laid out for me because my brain does not match that role. But I really feel great, like, putting this off my chest and sharing it with y'all. Like, I really have never opened up about it to anybody in full detail. I mean, if anybody wants to ask me any questions that knew me from back in the day, feel free. I won't be offended. But I just want people to know that's how far back it can really go and how long people can hold these things in. Just because society makes you want to have to do that just to avoid all the craziness that you have to deal with otherwise. Thank God there's all this stuff in, like, all these online resources to read about what being trans actually is and stuff, because I finally understood myself a few years back once I started researching these things in detail, started watching famous trans people and whatnot. I finally felt like I wasn't alone in this battle. Like I wasn't just some idiot or some crazy person. I finally understood where I belonged. And that's why I came out to the world last year and started living this way full time. start working towards being this person I felt like I should have been all along. Because I deserve that much. If nothing else in life, I deserve that much. Like, and hopefully, even though I don't have any resources and don't really have anybody there for me at all, I will get there one way or another. I look at it like I'm still in my 30s. I'm still young. I still look decent for my age. And I can get to where I want to be. Like, I believe in miracles. I believe that everyone gets the karma that they put out at some point. And I pray every day that something will break through for me, that like I keep things moving on with my transition, take them next steps, get like laser hair removal or something like that. Like, I know I deserve it, and I know that my heart is fully in this, because this is who I've been this whole time, and I've just been in denial of it, because that was what society forced on me, because I just didn't want to get picked on left and right like I was some freak of nature. Because at the end of the day, anybody out there who's doubting who or what they are, you're not a freak no matter what. As long as your heart's in the right place, you'll need some stranger to validate you, who you are, what you are. You know that you'll never 100% be the real thing, but be who you feel like you naturally are. I mean, I know it's much easier said than done. I know. And if anybody ever wants to talk to me about these things in private, I'll give you all the time of the day. Because I know that it's a very lonely battle. It's a very hard battle. And a lot of people kill themselves in that battle before they ever get to be who they want to be. And the world should not have to be that way. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to get repetitive, so once again, it was nice to share this little backstory with y'all as a little celebration of it being 1 year since I started living this way full time. And I know it's gonna sound weird to some people, I know, 100%, because so many people probably never saw me taking up this lifestyle, because I played my role so well. But they also know what kind of person I am underneath it all, and that I'm a very good, caring person, and I'm as loyal as it comes. And as long as they see that, that's all that really matters to me. Because I know it's going to sound weird. It would sound weird to me if I was hearing it from someone that I had never, like, lived that lifestyle, never understood. Like, I get it. But this is just how my heart, my mind has always been when it comes to this topic. And this is how far back I knew. And I knew 100% that I was trans once I really read up on what trans is and what gender dysphoria is. I was like, that's me 1,000%. And that was several years ago, but I didn't muster up the courage to come out until last year, when I thought like I had nothing left to lose. I just had to come out. Something had to give. But I guess I'll just end this video with all that. I hope y'all liked my little backstory, and I hope that it helps someone else out there who might be going through similar. Helps them find who they are, who they belong being. Because at the end of the day, it is a lonely ass battle if you don't have someone there with you in it. I know exactly how lonely it can be. And no one should have to live that way. Well, for now, everybody, be safe and peace out. Make a video again soon before my actual 1 year anniversary, guaranteed. For now, later, everybody.